Hi guys, sorry I haven't been around for a few weeks. I do apologise, but I've had a lot going on. We've actually been moving abroad, and we've driven from the UK to Portugal with a caravan and a cat. But the build up to it, like finishing stuff off in the UK, jobs, etc., getting everything packed, turning the caravan off grid, just guys, so many things going on, and I've really pushed myself way beyond my limits, which is it's actually a repetitive pattern that I get into. I just get to this build up where in life there's just so much going on and I'm trying to do so many things, and I can feel all these expectations crushing me. Some of them real, some of them are illusionary. We put a lot of illusionary expectations on ourselves. Yeah, so basically, I pushed myself way beyond my limits. I totally crashed, and I I ended up. Well, I shouldn't laugh really. It wasn't funny. I ended up night before last in hospital in Portugal at 1 a.m. I woke up with an SVT, which is a supraventricular tachycardia, and it's something I've got, which I'll explain in a minute, but I couldn't stop it, so yeah, I ended up going to hospital, and then in hospital I was wired up to loads of stuff, and it was a really scary experience. Had all these doctors and nurses around me. I couldn't understand anything that they were saying, and yeah, there was a couple of points where I actually thought I was going to die. So, yeah, that experience helped me recognise this pattern. I know it's there, this pattern that plays out. But the SVT, or the supraventricular tachycardia, which is where your heart goes out of rhythm and mine goes into this crazy 240 beats per minute mode. But that condition originated from the fear of it not being safe to relax and it not being safe to stop. So anything physically that we develop, as I've said before, has an emotional origin. There's my mate Celsius. Yeah, so it's got an emotional origin, and the emotional origin of my SVT just comes from like it not being safe to stop, and no matter what I do, it's never good enough. So having to push myself harder and harder, which, you know, it turned me into a bit of a superhero. You know, I was a guy that could get anything done for years and years. But then I guess in my mid to late 30s, which was when I developed this, I couldn't sustain it anymore. It wasn't sustainable. So like the universe is calling on me now to work through this and try and heal this problem, which means slowing down, which is really difficult when I'm trying to start and create a new life for us here. So going back to it, I can recognize, and I'm just going to repeat it again, that this physical ailment was created from an emotional wound, and we can heal it, which is what I'm trying to do now. But the emotional wound was from my childhood, where it wasn't safe to stop or relax. If I was doing nothing, there'd be an attack of some kind. And I'd be emotionally shamed or violated, whether it was schools, home, whatever it was. It's just the way the system is designed to keep pushing us, which activates this anxiety. So we all need a part, which we all need to just slow down and relax and take a breath in order to grow and in order for our body to heal. If we're in a constant state of fight or flight, this emotional energy gets trapped in the bodies. We can't process it, and we don't allow it to be released and to heal. So these these emotional states develop into forms of dis-ease and create physical ailments in the body. So this is basically the universe pointing out to me where I need to do the work. So because that part of me that wanted to relax, needed to relax, it's a human need, needed just to take space to relax, heal, slow down, because we can't go 100 miles an hour all the time. It's not sustainable. That part was suppressed so strongly, and I created this really strong protector part in its place, and it stands in the way like of ever letting me relax. So this protector part shows the world that I'm really strong, I can get anything done, I can meet anybody's expectations, anything the world throws at me, I can take on. But it wasn't sustainable. And the part of me that needs to relax and slow down became surrounded by shame, and I saw that part as being weak, because it wasn't accepted. So in order for me to have been accepted into family circle, basically society, school, things like this, and to try and get a sense of belonging, I needed to suppress that part massively. And I became so good and so fast at doing things, I totally forgot that that part even existed. I didn't even realise I needed to slow down. And when this condition started to happen, I ignored it. I was in hospital for a week. I felt tired, I felt weak when I come out. It was a real scare. It was emotional. It just made me feel so fragile. And I didn't really tell a lot of people about it because I was actually really ashamed of having that condition. But that was that part screaming at me, you need to slow down, you need to relax, you need to stop a little bit. So I actually thought it was really good to be able to have so much energy and just smash through anything that is put in front of me, be able to do anything, build anything, create anything, and just show everybody, like trying to show everybody my self-worth subconsciously. But I actually passed that on to my son, thinking that I was protecting him and I was teaching him how to succeed in life, which I guess is what my dad did to me. And it's really tough for me to see how that plays out with him. And the more we do the work and the more we see within ourselves, the more we can see in the external world. And I can see how my son is driven by that same anxiety now, to be able to be the person that can do anything, fix anything. And he's doing really well, but he's going so fast. He's not being able to be present and appreciate what he's doing and where he is. And that is, I've got to own that. That's what I've transferred onto him as my dad transferred onto me. And this is ancestral patterns, but how amazing for us to be able to witness these ancestral patterns and this transference and own our part in it. When we own our part of it, and when we can go inwards and work with our shame around being accepted, around belonging and things like this, trying to get love, then we can change the external world, but we can heal ourselves, but we can heal these ancestral patterns. So just by being able to observe and witness these patterns and how they're playing out, we can use curiosity and self-compassion to heal these wounds. The world which we live in is changing, and as we heal ourselves, we heal the collective wounds in the world. And I tell you what, guys, we live in amazing times. Who would have thought that this insight that we have into our own inner worlds, this recognition of the emotional origins, and actually witnessing that, like the physical dis-ease, seeing how these ancestral patterns play out. And it's not actually DNA, it might be, but like it's passed down through transference, through emotional wounds, which creates physical ailments. But there's like, this is actually going mainstream now. There's so many healers available for like invaluable information with just a touch of the screen on our phones or the touch of a button on the computer. Like, yeah, we've got these amazing people who are just getting out there, like as we are, carving a road through shame and, well, not really. Yeah, there you go. That's me pushing stuff again. They're not carving a road through shame. They're embracing shame with love and self-compassion, which brings me to the next part I'm going to do. I'm going to read a little bit from a book of mine by a lady called Brene Brown. Some of you may know her, some of you may not, but she's absolutely awesome. She's written a book called The Gifts of Imperfection, which an awesome friend of mine put me on to read. So thanks, Fi. But I'm going to read to you two definitions that Brene puts in the book. One of them is love and one of them's belonging. So just bear with me for a sec. So there we go. This is the book here. It's called The Gifts of Imperfection. And this is Brene's definition of love. So we cultivate love when we allow our most vulnerable and powerful selves to be deeply seen and known. And when we honour the spiritual connection that grows from that offering with trust, respect, kindness and affection. Love is not something we give or we get. It's something that we nurture and grow. A connection that can only be cultivated between two people when it exists within each one of them. We can only love others as much as we love ourselves. Shame, blame, disrespect, betrayal, and the withholding of affection damages the roots from which love grows. Love can only survive these injuries if they are acknowledged, healed, and cared for. So that's pretty amazing definition of love. But I wonder how many of us actually get to experience love on such a beautiful level, just such a beautiful, pure level. And it's important to realise that when we do love somebody and that pure golden energy, that beauty we see in them, we can only see in them if there's a reflection of it within ourselves. So it does reside within all of us. But do we actually get to experience it in a pure, beautiful way without any resistance? We don't. Society has been designed to damage the roots and the core understanding of love. And we are here to repair it. So the more work we do on ourselves, the more we start to normalise our patterns and our behaviours, and we start to accept ourselves and start to love ourselves, then the more love and affection we can give authentically out there. Okay, the next definition is belonging. So here we go. Belonging is the innate human desire to be part of something that is larger than us. Because this yearning is so primal, we often try to acquire it by fitting in and by seeking approval, which are not only hollow substitutes for belonging, but they're often barriers to it. Because true belonging only happens when we present our authentic, imperfect selves to the world, our sense of belonging can never be greater than our level of self-acceptance. Wow! Oh, thanks, Brene. That was amazing. That was really powerful. So, how can any of us have a true sense of belonging if, from the moment we're born, we're taught that we cannot be authentically ourselves and that we have to suppress parts, shave parts off to model ourselves into these parts or these egos that will be accepted into society when it's not who we authentically are. So by the time we reach middle age, most of us don't know who we are anymore. But with the help of these awesome pioneers like Brene Brown, Gabor Mate, Richard Schwartz, and many, many others, we can start to reintegrate these exiled parts of self. Like people have been doing it for so many years in different lines of spirituality and religion. It's known as inner child work, soul retrieval, but there's never been a time when collectively we've been so compassionate, but like also like there's something going on, like so capable of being able to go into ourselves and do the work, but just actually being able to witness these patterns playing out. And this is what we came here to do. We came here to work with and heal these wounds. So just stop what you're doing for a sec and just take a moment to recognize your journey. So daring to venture into the shadow world and immerse yourself in shame and all the other things that are in there, but shame is like the most powerful one for me. But just shining the light of true love and compassion, and recreating an authentic sense of belonging, healing a wounded world. That's what you're doing every time you do that work within yourself. And that's pretty powerful stuff. So thanks again for watching, guys. Don't forget, hit like, subscribe, share the love, man. Get it out there, and stay tuned for my next video. It won't be as long, I promise. Okay, I'll try and get one done for next week. I've got a couple of interviews with some cool guys that I've got to edit and get out there on the channel as well. And I'm going to be interviewing some more people as well, but stay tuned. And thanks for watching, and thanks for letting me share my vulnerability and my shame, because by doing that, it's healing for me, and it's healing for the world. Thanks, guys.